For the 5th Christmas in a row, they forgot to invite me. It wasn't an oversight. It was a deliberate, collective silence that had become the soundtrack of my widowhood. It was early December, and I, Eris, was in my sterile, quiet kitchen when my phone chimed. It was a video call from my 8-year-old grandson, Owen calling from my son Reese's house. His small, sweet face filled the screen, framed by the flashing, excessive lights of their Christmas tree behind him. "Grandma, why aren't you coming for Christmas again?" he asked. The question was a low blow. I froze. "What do you mean, sweetheart? No one has told me about any Christmas plans yet." Owen tilted his head. "Dad said you were busy this year." Before I could answer, my daughter-in-law, Valora, appeared. Her smile was as sharp and cold as a shard of glass. She snatched the device. "Oh, hi, Eris. He's been testing boundaries." "Valora," I said, my voice quiet but firm. "Owen mentioned Christmas. It sounds like you're hosting—" Her expression tightened. "We're still finalizing things. Nothing's confirmed yet." "Of course," I replied, forcing a soft reply. "Let me know when you decide." After she abruptly ended the call, the silence that settled around me was crushing. 5 years. 5 empty Christmases since my husband Elias passed. Each year brought a new, flimsy excuse. And each year I swallowed my pride and accepted it. That day, something inside me snapped. They didn't want me at their table. I would build one of my own. This Christmas would be different, not for them, but for me. That night, I opened my laptop and typed Aspen Ridge homes for sale. I'd spent months daydreaming about a fortress surrounded by pine trees, snow, and silence, a place that didn't carry the echoes of old betrayals. The listings felt like windows into an independent life. One caught my eye immediately, a modern cabin with floor-to-ceiling windows and 5 acres of complete privacy near Aspen Ridge. Colorado. It was far more house than I needed, but the extravagance felt like a statement. When the realtor, Anya, met me the next morning, she was cautiously curious. "This is quite an investment, Miss Eris," she noted. "Most buyers in this price range are young professionals." "I'm neither," I replied, meeting her gaze. "And that's exactly why I'm here." The moment I stepped inside, the anxiety lifted, the sunlight poured through the towering windows, and the view of the mountains was breathtakingly real. "The house comes with a full security system," Anya mentioned. "Good," I confirmed. "I want to feel safe." When she asked if I needed time to think, I offered a faint smile. "I've been thinking for 5 years." 2 weeks later, I signed the papers and paid in full, driving up the snowy, winding road to my mountain home. I felt a lightness I hadn't experienced in decades. No one to please, no calls to wait for, no empty chair. I was the host of my own story, and I wouldn't apologize for it. The first morning felt like waking up inside a new life. I unpacked slowly, deliberately. Every item I placed, every curtain hung, felt like a declaration of independence. This home wouldn't be a shrine to the past. It would be a promise to the woman I was becoming. By the 3rd day, I had installed new, heavy-duty locks and reactivated the comprehensive security system. That afternoon, I called my late husband's friend, Graham, retired corporate attorney. "Graham," I said, "I think I've done something brave." He chuckled. "It's about time. Aris." He offered to drive up that weekend to review the paperwork. When he arrived, he looked around in awe. "This suits you," he said. "The woman who's finally ready to breathe." And we toasted to new beginnings, and for a moment the ache of my children's neglect faded. A week later, my phone buzzed with an alarming notification. "Movement detected. Front porch." I opened the camera feed, and my heart dropped. It was my daughter, Isolde. She and her husband were bundled up, scanning the porch. Then, Isolde reached into her handbag and pulled out a key. A key! I watched in cold disbelief as she unlocked the door and stepped inside my private space. The camera followed them. "This place must have cost an absolute fortune," Isolde said, running her hand along my new counter. Her husband opened the refrigerator and grabbed a bottle of water and laughed. "Guess Mom's not as broke as we thought." They explored the entire house. Then, Isolde set the key down. "Reese will want a copy. We'll all need access for the holidays." And then they were gone. By the time Graham arrived, my hands were shaking. "They used a key," I said, showing him the chilling footage. "That's criminal trespass. How did they get one?" "We called the realtor," Anya confessed, her voice trembling. "Your son, Reese, came to the office. He said you had asked him to coordinate deliveries because of your mobility issues." They had lied, manipulated, and invaded my sanctuary. By that evening, I had changed every lock. I wasn't going to confront them yet. I was going to prepare. The next morning, my phone exploded with furious messages. From Reese. "Mom, we need to talk about this house situation. Call me immediately." From Isolde. "Why didn't you tell us you bought a vacation home? We need to discuss this as a family." Not one message was congratulatory. I didn't respond. Instead, I called Graham. "They're coming," I said. "They think they can just walk in again." He agreed to assist. I also called Colt, a neighbor and local police officer on medical leave. After I explained the trespassing, he said firmly, "You don't need to handle this alone. I'll be there." Together, the three of us devised a simple, powerful plan. If my children wanted a surprise visit for Christmas, they would get one. Just not the kind they expected. Graham would bring official paperwork. Colt would be in uniform, and I would greet them with calm, unshakable authority. "It's about respect," Graham stressed. "They'll learn to knock." Christmas Eve arrived. The house was calm, the table set for 3. At 3:30 p.m., Colt's tablet chimed. 3 vehicles on the drive, my children, their spouses, and grandchildren, 10 people, luggage, gifts. "They think this is a free-for-all," Graham muttered. I took a deep breath. "Let's greet them." We watched as Isolde tried to unlock the door with the useless key. Confusion, then annoyance. The doorbell rang. I opened the door slowly, wearing my burgundy dress and Elias's pearls. "Surprise," they all cheered. "It is a surprise," I said evenly, especially since I wasn't expecting guests. Behind me, Colt stepped into clear view, uniform gleaming. Silence fell instantly. "Mom, why is there a police officer here?" Isolde stammered. "Because," I said calmly, "this year, I decided to protect my peace." "Mom, this is ridiculous. We're family," Reese snapped. "You can't treat us like intruders." I held his gaze. "Then maybe you shouldn't have acted like ones." I gestured toward the living room. "Let's talk." They filed in, subdued. Graham stood near the mantel. Briefcase in hand, I turned on the large television, linking it to the security system. 2 days ago, I said, Isolde and her husband entered my home without permission, using a key obtained through deliberate deception. Isolde's face drained of color. I pressed play. Their recorded voices, talking about my secret money and how they'd all stay here, filled the silent room. When I paused the video, Colt's voice cut through the tension. "This footage shows clear unauthorized entry. In legal terms, that's criminal trespassing." Reese turned scarlet. Graham stepped forward, holding a single sheet of paper. "Mrs. Eris has decided not to press charges," he announced, "on the sole condition that each of you acknowledge what happened and agree to respect her boundaries moving forward." Isolde's husband scoffed. "A contract with your own mother?" I met his eyes. "If it takes a contract for my children to treat me with respect, then yes." 8-year-old Owen raised his hand timidly. "Grandma, are we in trouble?" I knelt down, softening my voice. "No, sweetheart, the grown-ups are just learning a very important lesson about asking before taking." I stood, looking at my children. "This isn't punishment, it's clarity." Isolde finally broke. "Mom, we didn't mean to shut you out. The holidays were hard after Dad died." "Hard?" I repeated softly. "You made it easier for yourselves by pretending I didn't exist. 5 Christmases. Isolde, 5, Reese confessed. "We thought you preferred being alone. You always said you didn't want to be a burden." "That wasn't truth, Reese," I said quietly. "That was pride. The kind you forced me to swallow when you stopped calling. I turned back to them. From now on, you will visit when invited. You will knock before entering my home. Respect isn't optional. It's love in action. Graham held out the paper, one by one. They signed, no dramatic apologies, just quiet, reluctant understanding. This isn't about boundaries anymore, I concluded. It's about dignity, mine, and hopefully yours too. After they signed, the air felt lighter. I invited them to stay for the hot cocoa. As they left, Isolde hugged me tightly and whispered, "Thank you for not giving up on us. Thank you for finally showing up." I replied. Later that evening, Lumen, my oldest granddaughter, appeared with her bag. "Grandma, can I stay? I want to help you set up for tomorrow." Her request melted something deep inside. Of course, sweetheart. We baked and decorated the tree. She looked at me and said, "You're not like how Mom describes you. You're actually fun." I laughed softly. I guess she's never seen me without rules to follow. When she finally went to bed, I sat by the fire alone and whispered a quiet thank you to the mountains for teaching me that peace isn't found in being included. It's found in choosing yourself first. The next morning, the world was wrapped in white silence. Reese and Isolde called later. This time, they didn't assume. They asked, "Mom, can we come by for dinner?" I smiled. "You may." That small phrase, "you may," carried all the power I'd once given away. After they were gone, I sat by the fire and realized peace isn't found in being needed. It's found in being respected. I used to think setting boundaries would push my family away, but all it did was show them how to meet me where I stood. And maybe that's the true heart of revenge, becoming untouchably content in your own life. This was the Christmas I finally chose myself.